We are back. We are continuing our series. Look at how dedicated I am. This is the third week. I've been sitting here for 3 weeks with you guys, just waiting for the next week with this same shirt on in the same place. That's how dedicated I am. I have not moved from this chair for 3 weeks, all right? So because of that, please feel free to like and subscribe. If you like and subscribe, maybe I can get out of this chair and change my shirt and stuff and go back and spend some time with my family. All right, so subscribe and hit the notification button. Anyway, we're still in our Getting Started with Our DAW series. We're getting towards the end of the series. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Last video, we talked about using buses, specifically how to route to buses, and I promised you that we would talk about using sends in another video. Well, this is that video. So cue the short intro, and then let's take a look at how we can send things to buses. Producer, short intro, please.
At McCrae Music.
All right, you guys know the deal. We are inside of our DAW. This is the same mix that we were looking at, or not really a mix yet, but the same session that we were looking at for our song Progress that we are developing. I've got my buses and my organization, all that stuff is still in place. It is all working. That is great. Okay, now, sometimes you're going to want to use a send. And remember, when we route to a bus, what's happening is the output of a particular channel is now going to that bus. So now the output is not just coming out of that channel or the main, which is where it was coming out of before, just out of your speakers. It's being routed through that bus. And so now I could use that bus to control the overall level and mute or solo or whatever it is I want to do. Okay, so that's routing. When we use sends, sending is going to make a copy of that, or take a copy of that same output coming from that bus and send it to another bus. So instead of routing it, it's going to send it to the bus. And this is going to give me a duplicate copy of this signal that I can then do interesting things with, right? Like I could put a reverb on it. I don't want to just have just the reverb. I want the original vocal or whatever it is, and then I want the reverb separate so I can control the volume of it and all that kind of stuff. Or I might want to make a duplicate copy of it to do something completely different with it and treat it almost like it was a separate recorded track and do some effects and things on there. So let's look at some examples of how to do this. All right, so I've got my lead vocal here. Let's see what we've got. This world can get you down. All right. This world can speak so loud. Sounds so fine, don't you agree? Sexual chocolate. All right, anyway. So I got my vocal right here. And I would like to put a reverb on this vocal. All right, I think it might be nice. I think I might want to put a little delay on there as well, just to kind of give it some space and just make it sound a little bit more interesting. Okay, so I'm going to close my output section here, and I'm going to turn on my send section. In your DAW, your sends are going to be somewhere at the top of your channel. Luna kind of segments things out this way, but just look for your sends area. It's going to be somewhere above your channel, probably underneath your inserts area for your plugins. All right, so here's my send section. So I'm going to go ahead and send this to a new, matter of fact, I already have some buses up here. I was going to create a new one, but I just realized I already have some buses. So let's turn on a couple of these effects buses that we have here. And let's go ahead and name this one, I'm going to call this just Verb. Okay. And let's do this next one. We'll call this Delay. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and send this to my Reverb bus. All right. So watch, how do I do that? I'm going to go to send. I'm going to send the actual output from the overall lead vocal bus over to my reverb. So I'm going to go ahead and click send. I'm going to tell it what bus I want to send to. Let's send to our verb bus. Cool. There we go. Beautiful. And I've got this dial here. I could also change that using this button here so that it's, you know, a traditional send looking thing where I have an actual fader. Okay. Or I can just use the dial. It's really the same thing, but I can choose what I want to do. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and send this. So I'm going to turn this up a little bit. Usually if you hold Alt and click on the dial or the fader, it'll bring it to unity, which is audio engineer terminology for zero, basically. Well, it might not be zero, all right, because depending on what kind of meter you have. So let's just call it unity, right, before all the audio engineers start yelling at me. Like, unity is not always zero. All right, so but it's going to go ahead and bring it right there. All right, so now let's listen to what's happening. I don't have a reverb on here yet, but let's see what's happening.
This world can get you down.
You can see that my signal has gotten louder because I'm basically duplicating it now to this reverb bus. You can see,
This world can
right, you
get
can see the signal is coming out there. It's about the same level as this because I have it at unity, so it's going to be about the same. And if I unmute
This world can get you down.
all right, there we go. We have sent it to this bus. It's still coming out of here. So if I mute this, I still hear it.
This world can get you down.
It's just sending a duplicate copy to here. And I can use this to adjust the volume, and I'll do that in a little bit. But now let's go ahead and throw a reverb plugin on here. Let's use one of my favorites. Let's go to Lustrous Plates, Liquid Sonics, which is available in your Slate Digital All Access Pass card up in the top if you are interested in seeing the review I've done of that. And let's just use, I've got a couple of presets here. Let's use Ed Plate 2. And let's play it and now see what we have now with the duplicate copy going through the reverb.
This world can get you down.
Wow, that's nice, right? A little bit too much reverb. So now what I can start doing is using my gain here, or my dial or my fader, I should say here, to control how much of this signal is being sent over here. So let's kind of play it and dial it back a little bit until it makes sense.
This world can get you down. This world can speak so loud, telling you you're so far away from the goals you set.
All right, I like that. It's not overbearing, not too much. Now, of course, depending on if you're talking just about reverb or time-based effects, depending on the flavor and type of song you're dealing with, all right, sometimes you might want a lot of it, or maybe at a certain part of the song you'll want a lot of it. You might want to automate where it's changing. We'll learn about automation down the road as we talk about mixing. But cool, it is going to there. How about a delay? Let's do the same thing for our delay. Let's go ahead and send this to the delay channel, and let's go ahead and get this at Unity. Let's throw one of my favorite delays on there, also from the Slate Digital All Access. Or we'll throw the repeater on there, and we'll use a preset that I tend to like to use. Not that. Let's use a preset that I tend to like to use just to get a little ambiance, ambient lead vocal. Nice little quarter delay. And let's see what we got.
This world can get you down. This world can speak so loud, telling you you're so far away from.
There we go. So right away, our vocal has become more interesting by sending it to this reverb and this delay. All right? Very good. Now, let's talk a little bit about the different types of sends that you can do. The type of send that I just did is called a post-fader send. What does that mean? That means that it is sending the signal out after the fader, right? So that means the fader is going to affect the volume of what's going out through the send, okay? Let's take a look at what happens here if I start messing with the fader. Watch this.
This world can get you down. This world can.
Right, so I pull that back and you can see that that is affecting what's happening here. It's affecting what's going through my sends.
From the goals you set, and you'll never get there.
All right, so that's a post-fader send, right? And oftentimes that is what we want, right? If I have a reverb happening, I don't want that to be independent of the fader, because then when I start doing automation and bringing the vocal up and down in the mix, it's going to affect the sound of my reverb or my delays, and I don't want that, right? I want it to, if I start turning the vocal down, I want the reverb to go down, because if you're in a room and you're singing loud and then you start singing quietly, the reverberation in the room is going to change based on the volume of your voice, right? So that's a post-fader send. That is what you're going to have by default. Now, there are times when you might want to have what's called a pre-fader send, right? And pre-fader means exactly what it sounds like. It's going to send before the fader. The send is going to happen in your chain before the fader. So with a pre-fader send, my fader is no longer going to affect the volume of what's being sent out. This is great when I want to really do like a duplicate version of a particular whatever it is, so that I can then do like a really cool effect, or maybe change, or maybe, just there are tons of things that I could possibly do, right? In live audio, I would do this with like a monitor mix, right? Where I don't want the fader overall affecting the volume of the monitors for the singer, okay? So let's take a look at how to do that. Let's do something that I would often do, which is make a copy of this vocal. Sometimes to thicken up a vocal, I will make a copy of a vocal and put like a flange effect on the copy, or maybe even do an octave of the vocal and put that in there and blend it all together. So we getting into the bag of tricks now, right? If you're gonna keep watching this video, it's gonna cost you. All right, I'm just kidding. You could find this information anywhere on YouTube. I'm not the only one who does these things. But let's go ahead and create a couple more buses here. Well, actually, I already have some. I keep forgetting I have these buses. I have a stereo bus here. I want to use that, and then let's grab a mono bus. This should be a mono bus here. Yes, it is. And let's bring that over here. Let's just rename these. This will be LV oct. This will be LV flange. And let's look at our routing here, and we're going to go ahead and route both of these guys to the LV bus. No, just the LV bus, please. LV bus. There we go. All right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send from my main lead vocal here to these guys pre-fader, and watch the difference. Watch the difference. Let's send this one. This is LV oct here. Let's send this guy to LV flange. Now, you're going to need to tell your send here, and let's bring this full screen so we can see. You're going to need to tell your send to be pre-fader. So here in Luna, I have a pre-fader button. You'll also see that in Pro Tools, in like Logic or other DAWs, there might be a different way for you to switch it to pre-fader, but I want to tell it to be pre-fader. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. Let's do that for LV flange as well. And I'm going to go ahead and set these to unity. Now I'm going to mute these so that it's not too loud. And let's see what happens.
This world can get you down.
All right, so check it out. There's the volume.
This world
Watch what
can
happens when I pull
speak
this fader
so
back.
loud.
I am still seeing signal here because the fader is not affecting it. And if I unmute,
And you'll never get
right,
there, but I believe in the
I still have the same signal, right? This is a little less because this is sum to mono, this is stereo. So it looks a little bit less, but it's the same signal.
matter.
Okay, so by using my pre-fader send, I now have a complete perfect copy of the same thing in these other places that is not being affected by my fader. And I can start doing some stuff. Let's go ahead and find a flange over here. And we'll close up our sends area for right now. We'll leave it open. Let's find the flange over here. Oh, we'll use this guy right here. Melda Productions. And let's just listen to, I'm going to mute this guy and just listen to the flange vocal.
This world can get you down.
And I could sit here and mess with it. I'm not going to. All right. And so now I have the regular vocal and the flange together.
This world can get.
All right. How about I do an octave of the vocal? Let's see if we can find a pitch shifter here. And let's go ahead and get a -12. We'll go an octave down. And let's take a listen to that.
This world can get you down.
Complete separate thing, completely unaffected by my fader, right? Or by my mute. I've muted this and I can still hear it. So now what I can do is start blending these together so it actually sounds like something, because right now it's gonna sound crazy.
This world can get you.
But if I start playing around and blending things together, it can sound pretty cool. So what I like to do is just bring these all the way down and then start dialing them in until I like it. So let's see.
This world can get you down. This world can speak so loud, telling you you're so far away from the goals you set, and you'll never get there. But I believe in the little things. Yeah. I believe that even small victories matter.
I know you can barely hear the octave, but it's doing something. Trust me, right? It's adding a little bit of low energy there. And so now I've got a nice situation here where I've sent these out pre-fader.
This world can get you down.
I've adjusted the volume there. I've got the blend the way I want. My fader here is not going to affect these. So when I start doing automation, I'm usually going to leave this alone and do my automation here. And all of this is coming out of my mix bus or my vocal bus. So now I can mute this.
This world.
All those things are muted, and all of those things are being sent to my reverb and my delay, right? So we've got buses doing all kinds of stuff here. It's crazy. Buses are being routed. They're being sent in post fader. They're being sent in pre-fader, and we can do this all throughout our mix and really get a lot of great, interesting things happening inside of our mix. All right, man, that was really, really cool. All right, so I hope that that's helped you. You now know how to use sends, and you know the difference between pre-fader sending and post-fader sending, and you see some of the things. Hopefully your creative juices are flowing, and you can't wait to go in and try some of this stuff and think of some other things that you can do with your sends. All right, leave comments in the comment section. Tell me some of the different ways you are using sends. Maybe you're using sends in some other ways than what I displayed here. I'd love to hear about it. Throw some comments in there and let me know. If you have questions, if you're still confused about the difference between pre and post fader and when you should use each, throw those questions in there. I will answer them as well. We are going to be getting closer to concluding our series. In our next video, we're going to talk about exporting stuff from your DAW and some of the different formats you would use to do that. And then we'll finish up by learning how to actually create a mix template. I'll show you how to do that. All right, so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in those videos. Looking forward to hanging out with you. Everybody take care. Peace.